There is a rumor that new hardware is on the horizon for both Xbox and PlayStation, and I think this idea is something that both companies had in mind before they launched these systems, but of course, before this chip shortage happened. So you have to take all of this information with a grain of salt. It's not like PlayStation and Xbox launched these consoles about a year ago and then sat down and said, okay, let's think about upgraded hardware in the midst of this chip shortage. It was before this chip shortage that all these plans were created. So finding this information and presenting it as fact without surrounding it with the chip shortage and the fact that clearly these plans are going to change based around this chip shortage, I think is a bit disingenuous. But of course, these companies are going to look to create new pieces of hardware, new revisions to the hardware, maybe 3 years in, because why not offer something to consumers if they're willing to spend money on it?
Yay, capitalism!
Personally, I think it's important to remember that most people in the general console market aren't really looking for a change in resolution from 4K to 8K or a change in frame rate from 60 to 120. I get those things are important, but most people are looking for graphics, the difference between one generation to the next. I'll give you an example. Horizon Forbidden West was updated for the PlayStation 5. So was Ghost of Tsushima, so was Spider-Man. Now, the graphics in these games did not change. The texture quality didn't change. The polygon count on the characters wasn't increased because of extra RAM in the box. The only change was to resolution and frame rate, and those are great. I get it. If you want to buy a piece of hardware to make those things better, more power to you. However, it's always graphical differences that I'm interested in, and I think most people are interested in. So on the eve of this PlayStation event today at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, most people are going to look for PS5 only games and how graphically they're different compared to the PS4 era. It's not about resolution. They're not just going to say, here's a game that looks just like Horizon Forbidden West graphically, but it's 8K, so this is why you want to buy a PlayStation 5. It's always about a change in graphics. But again, if you're the type of consumer that wants the highest resolution, the highest frame rate, then there's a market for those machines, and they're going to sell them. The biggest takeaway from all of this is that, of course, finding this information, finding PlayStation and Xbox plans for mid-generation upgrades, new versions of the PlayStation 5 digital, the PlayStation 5 physical, slim version, a new version of the Xbox Series S or the Xbox Series X. This is not shocking news, but presenting it in a way that makes it seem like this chip shortage hasn't affected those plans, I think, again, isn't an accurate way to represent this information. Of course, they had this in the works before these systems launched. These plans don't just organically grow after a year of launching hardware. Nobody just sits around and says, okay, let's plan for the production of new hardware. All of this is ironed out before these systems launch. But again, I'm sure that these plans were affected by this chip shortage, and I don't think we're going to see hardware refreshes anytime soon, especially 2022, 2023. It just seems way too early for a revision, even if there wasn't a chip shortage. But in the midst of this chip shortage, they can't even get PlayStation 5s produced to meet demand. They can't get Xbox Series X produced to meet demand. Why then would they say to themselves, hey, let's make it even more difficult for our manufacturing, and let's add in new hardware that needs more chips? It just doesn't make any sense. So clearly, I think that at some point we're going to get refreshes, and that's fine. I think the cell phone model is clearly entrenched now in consoles. I think that once they figured out that people are willing to spend money on things, these ancillary experiences like a resolution bump or a frame rate bump, then I think they're going to offer it to those base of consumers. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you still think these mid-gen refreshes are coming as early as they planned before this chip shortage? I just don't see how that's possible. Are you even interested in a PlayStation 5 that simply allows for 8K resolution of games designed around the PlayStation 5 hardware. And the same goes for the Xbox Series X and the mid-gen refresh rumor of the Xbox Series S. Let me know in the comments section below. I'd be very interested to see how many people are willing to shell out another, say, $700 to $800 for just a resolution upgrade or a frame rate upgrade. Thanks for watching the video. Think about sharing it out. Think about subscribing to the channel. At the very least, think about liking this video. It would help me grow the channel immensely, and I will see you in the next video.